You know what's strange about people born in the 90s? They remember a world that doesn't exist anymore, not in a dramatic way, not in a history textbook kind of way, but in a quiet, personal way, a world that disappeared so slowly. You didn't even notice it was gone. You remember playing outside until the streetlights came on, not because someone told you to go home, but because that was the rule everyone just understood. You remember boredom, real boredom, no phone, no scrolling, no instant escape, just you and time. And somehow, you always found something to do. A stick became a sword, the street became a racetrack. Your imagination filled the gaps that technology fills today, and you didn't realize it then. But that shaped you, because when there was nothing, you learned how to create something. But here's where it gets interesting. You didn't just grow up in that world. You watched it disappear. You remember VHS tapes, rewinding them before returning them. You remember slow internet, where loading one page felt like waiting forever. You remember when downloading one song felt like an achievement. But then, everything changed. Faster internet, social media, smartphones, and suddenly, the world became instant, connection became constant, and life became something you don't just live, but something you show. And that's where your psychology split, because you were raised one way and forced to live another. You learned that friendships are built through moments, but now they're measured in messages. You learned that your value comes from what you do, but now it feels like it comes from how you're seen. You learned how to be yourself before anyone was watching, and then suddenly, everyone was watching, and that creates something most people don't even realize. A quiet tension between who you are and who you feel like you should be, between living and performing. And maybe you felt this, that strange pull backwards, that feeling when you think about the past. And it feels warmer than it should, not because everything was perfect, but because something felt simpler, more real. No constant comparison, no pressure to keep up, no invisible audience judging every moment. Just life, as it was. And your brain holds on to that, because what you miss isn't the past itself, it's how you felt in it. Fully present, fully there. And here's something most people won't tell you. People born in the 90s feel this stronger than anyone else because you didn't just live your childhood. You witnessed a transition. You saw one world end and another begin. And your brain tries to reconcile both. That's why sometimes you feel nostalgic and overwhelmed at the same time. That's why you can adapt to technology, but still feel tired of it. That's why you understand social media, but don't fully belong to it. You're not fully from the past, and not fully from the present. You're in between, and that in between comes with a cost, because your brain is constantly comparing how things were and how things are. And that comparison creates pressure, pressure to keep up, pressure to be more, pressure to not fall behind in a world that never slows down. And over time, that turns into something deeper. Exhaustion, not physical, mental, because you're always processing, always adjusting, always trying to make sense of a world that changed while you were growing up. And if you've ever felt like you're tired, but you don't know why, this might be it. But here's the part nobody talks about. This isn't just a disadvantage, it's also your advantage. Because you remember something most people don't. You remember what life feels like without constant noise. You know what real attention feels like. You know what it means to be present without needing to prove it. And that gives you something rare, perspective. You can step back. You can disconnect. You can choose what actually matters. Instead of reacting to everything, you understand both worlds. The one that existed before and the one that exists now. And that means you can do something powerful. You can choose. You can use technology without letting it control you. You can stay connected without losing yourself. You can live in this fast world without forgetting how to slow down because you've already experienced both sides. And maybe that's not confusion. Maybe that's awareness. You're not lost between two worlds. You're one of the few people who actually sees both clearly. And once you realize that, something shifts. You stop feeling behind. You stop feeling out of place. And you start understanding something important. You're not broken. You're just different. Shaped by timing, by being born at the exact moment everything was changing. And instead of that being a weakness, it might be the reason you understand more than most people ever will. So if this felt personal, if you've been feeling this but never had the words for it, you're not alone. There are millions of people who feel the exact same thing, quietly, without talking about it. And maybe that's why you're here, trying to understand it, trying to understand yourself, because at the end of the day, you're not nostalgic for the 90s. You're nostalgic for a feeling of being fully present. And the good news, that feeling didn't disappear. You just forgot you can still create it.